Have you ever found yourself completely stuck in your own head, just analyzing a decision until you're totally paralyzed? If that sounds familiar, then you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're talking about the cure for overthinking. And here's a hint. It has nothing to do with thinking harder. It's about breaking that cycle with one simple, powerful tool: taking action. Okay, let's see if this rings a bell. You're trying to fall asleep, but your brain suddenly decides it's the perfect time to pull up the transcript of a conversation you had on Tuesday. You're going over it word for word, analyzing every little pause, every facial expression, looking for clues you might have missed.
Or what about this one? You just need a new coffee maker, right? But somehow it turns into this massive research project. Before you know it, you're 2 hours deep in a rabbit hole of online reviews, totally convinced that the one single life-changing coffee maker is out there if you just analyze a little bit more.
And then, of course, there's the pre-game analysis for stuff that hasn't even happened yet. You're playing this intense game of mental chess against a future that only exists in your head, preparing for every single wild possibility, and you're completely exhausted before the day has even started.
So, if you're sitting there nodding along to all this, I've got some really good news. We are about to unpack exactly why this happens and why this super frustrating mental loop is so common. And this is maybe the most important thing you'll hear today. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. Your brain isn't faulty. It's actually running a very old, very powerful piece of software. The only problem? That software was designed for a completely different world. All right, let's get into how this ancient survival feature basically turned into a modern-day bug. This is the aha moment that's going to make it all click. So just imagine two of our ancient ancestors chilling out thousands of years ago. They both hear a rustle in the bushes. Ancestor number one just shrugs. It's probably just the wind. But ancestor number two, their mind immediately starts racing, running through all the worst-case scenarios. Is it a tiger, a snake, a rival tribe? Now, who do you think survived to pass on their genes? Yeah, the overthinker. And that right there is the entire problem. That same super-sensitive threat detection system is still running in your brain today. But instead of spotting tigers, it's treating a job interview or a weird text message or a big presentation like it's a life or death threat. It's a brilliant feature that's just running in the wrong context.
Okay, so where is the line? How do we know when we've crossed over from useful, productive thinking into this paralyzing analysis trap? Let's break it down.
The difference is actually pretty clear. Real thinking moves you forward. It has a goal, but overthinking, that's just a loop. You go over the same old information again and again. And here's the tricky part. It feels productive. It feels like you're working really hard on the problem, but you're not actually getting any closer to a solution. And this loop usually shows up in one of three flavors. Either you're ruminating, just chewing on something from the past, or you're spinning out with anxiety about the future, or you're just stuck in the present, completely frozen by analysis paralysis, unable to make a simple choice. See if you can spot your personal favorite.
This is the perfect way to think about it. Overthinking is exactly like being on a mental treadmill. You're sweating, your heart rate is up, you are burning real mental calories. But then you finally get off and you look around and realize you're in the exact same spot you started in. All that effort for zero progress.
All right, enough about the problem. We get it. Now it's time for the solutions. Think of this next part as your own personal mental toolkit, filled with everything you need to hop off that treadmill for good.
So let's dive into 5 simple but seriously powerful rules you can start using literally today. First up, the 5-minute rule. This one is pure gold for all those small, low-stakes decisions that somehow take over our brains. You know, what to have for dinner, which movie to watch, what to wear tomorrow. Just set a timer for 5 minutes, do your research, and when that timer goes off, you decide. That's it. Decision made. It forces you to give that small choice the small amount of energy it actually deserves. Number 2 is the brain dump. You know that feeling when your mind is like a web browser with 100 tabs open? Grab a pen and paper. Seriously, write down every single thought that's swirling around in there. Then, for each one, ask a simple question. Can I take action on this right now? If the answer is yes, great, you just made a to-do list. And if the answer is no, your brain can finally let it go because it trusts that you've captured it. Tool number 3 is a mantra to live by. Action beats perfection. Think about it. How many times have you spent 30 minutes trying to write the perfect 2-sentence email? Embracing good enough means sending that email in 5 minutes and moving on with your life. You learn so much more from actually doing things and getting feedback than you ever will from endless preparation. Progress over perfection every single time. Now, this next one might sound a little crazy, but stick with me because it works. You're going to schedule your worry. Pick 15 minutes a day, say 4:30 p.m., and that is your official designated worry time. So when an anxious thought pops up at 10 in the morning, you just tell it, hey, thanks for the heads up, we'll deal with this at 4:30. You're not ignoring it, you're just postponing it. This contains the habit in a tiny little box instead of letting it spill all over your day. And finally, the simplest tool of them all. This is your emergency brake. The second you feel that mental spin cycle starting, just pause and ask yourself one thing. Is replaying this conversation for the 10th time useful? The answer, of course, is always no. Then immediately follow up with, okay, what's one small action I could take instead? It can be anything. Stand up, wash a dish, answer one email. It just breaks the spell and channels all that anxious energy into something real. So now that we have the tools, let's get to the one core truth that makes them all work, because understanding this is the real key to breaking the cycle for good. And here it is. This is the big secret. Overthinking isn't a sign of how smart or thorough you are. It's a symptom of fear. Fear of messing up, fear of being judged, fear of regret. We analyze things to death not because we're trying to find the best answer, but because we are terrified of choosing the wrong one. So I'll leave you with this question. This is the ultimate antidote. The very next time you feel that mental treadmill start to spin up, just stop and ask yourself this. But don't just think about the answer. Go do it. And that right there is the biggest takeaway of them all. Clarity doesn't come from more analysis. It comes from action. You don't build confidence by thinking about how you'll handle mistakes. You build it by making a few and realizing, hey, I'm okay. You don't think your way out of this loop. You have to act your way out of it.